All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happens when you don't properly heal after dealing with a narcissist or dealing with narcissistic people, right? It's been, it's been a journey for me looking back over the past several years and this journey of understanding narcissism and just looking at how everything is played out over the years, and then taking a step back. As I did, leave for a while, took sabbatical, worked on some other business things, and which had a lot of my time, at least, consumed. But it gave me a chance to step away from the whole focus and speaking and coaching on narcissism. But I was able to dive deeper into really understanding how people are in human nature in general, especially when it comes to individuals who have dealt with narcissistic personality and hasn't quite healed properly. A lot of this over time, if you choose default coping mechanisms, like you have people who will they'll close off from everyone, or they'll take this very hard stance and disposition moving forward with being with people. So they go to an extreme of protecting themselves, which is, that's expected. One of the things in learning and just observing human nature is realizing that a lot of people and things can appear to be that way. That's why I like to say you got to find your own kind. And I'm not talking about race or anything like that. I'm talking about your own kind that values the same things as you, that respect the same things as you do, and they're principled wise is a lot similar to what you stand for. Because in all aspects, when you don't properly heal from any type of narcissistic abuse or anything like that, you're not fully living your fullest life. You're not even really fully happy. I mean, a lot of times we trick ourselves mentally into thinking that, but we're not at a carefree, level of just being content and secure, at least, because a lot of that gets robbed after encountering a narcissist, right? You lose your sense of innocence, and then your belief system is tainted too as well, because a lot of people have believed that, hey, how could anyone be as divisive and destructive, manipulative, cunning, hurtful, all these these things that you wouldn't expect a person to be unless they were done something terribly wrong. Well, that doesn't always, play itself out that way when you do deal with narcissists, especially those who've been in intimate partner relationships with them, right? These endings, right? They leave scars. And the alternative coping mechanisms is going to do everything possible to keep you from reliving or going through that situation again. So in a sense, yes, you have changed. And it's like there's a difference between being on a run. Let's say someone's on a run. If you ever watch those shows where the person's on the run, they've escaped jail, but they're free, right? Even though they escaped, they have freedom, but are they really able to experience that freedom, right? Because they've escaped, but they got to constantly look over their shoulder. So that freedom isn't really freedom. A lot of people, once they leave a narcissist and they feel like, oh, I'm good now, I'm free, they're still not free because of the emotional scars left behind too as well. Where that person now, is in a mindset trying to avoid everything that could potentially lead to them getting hurt. Or they don't want to be disappointed in the same way again. Or they're trying to avoid not being let down in the same way. Or they're trying to avoid not being able to hold on to what they want. To lose something, right? And to feel that pain, that empty void, that hurt, that the feeling of being betrayed and all those things, right? When you're living in that sense of emotion and that sense of that mindset where you have to be unauthentic to protect yourself from being hurt, because all of this boils down to, when you can chop it up in many different ways, but it all boils down to fear. Fear is the thing that most people have a lot of once they come out of dealing with a narcissistic type of situation. There's a lot of fear of, a lot of different types of anxieties that gets built up into a person and brought on by experiencing a narcissist. Some of these come in the form of soul ties, right? Which is these things form, and not only do they create deep, intense emotions, but they can also, again, as I've said, rob you of your innocence. They can also open you up to many different types of appetites and intense cravings, causing, the personality of that person to become addicted to these types of new appetites and things brought on by these soul ties that are unsevered. So we're talking about multiple things that go on within an individual after they've left, which, in a sense, if we're talking about properly healing from it, there's a lot of layers to fully healing and getting back to being able to be expressive in your natural self. What I've come to realize and understand is that many people, which it can appear like you can see things that may resemble being narcissistic, but many people are operating out of fear. Just in human nature alone, many people are. That's why you see the relationships and things of today the way that they are, because so many people are unhealed. They may say that they are, but there's a difference. There's a different operational way, behavioral way, if you will, that you can see in a person that's fully healed. There's a different type of way that they express themselves, a different type of way that they have, their outlook on things is different as well. When a person has healed, if a person hasn't, to the trained eye, you can see it, you can spot it. And they may say they're good to go, but what they don't realize is a lot of these things are deeply, and they're deeply embedded in the subconscious, right? They're buried way beneath the surface, and the person is being controlled by something they cannot see and just readily change easily, because it's not in the forefront of their conscience. It's not on their conscious mind. It's deep. It's embedded, and it controls the behaviors and the emotions of that person to act in a certain way, but out of fear. So the person becomes overly protective, and you're not genuinely getting the full expression of that person. And this is millions of people who are unhealed, who've dealt with some sort of trauma, hurt, pain. This is some of the things that I've picked up on and learned, how to dig out those things that are anchored way beneath the surface of your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. Because this is what's controlling all of these things. And again, you're not going to see it or know it unless you know how to go about undoing these things. Within that, this is where a lot of the soul ties get anchored and locked into deep in the subconscious. Just because you left the narcissist, and a lot of you feel like, I left, but I still feel that pull, because they've anchored deep into your subconscious mind as well. Even though the physical you've left and everything, there's still that pull because you are still connected to them. And this is what I was talking about in the other video I did about shadow work and all of these things. That's where it's at, folks. A lot of you have soul ties that haven't been cut or severed. And as we know, these soul ties rob you of your destiny and your fullest potential, because whoever you're connected to and whatnot that's pulling you in a certain way, it's going to keep driving you off course. And you won't really know why, how. You just have this feeling and a certain way of thinking and behaving that's going to always lead you astray. These things have to be severed. This is the things that I've had to work on myself. And it's very eye-opening, because you learn how to give. You learn how to give grace towards human nature in general, just people in general, because a lot of people really don't know. They really don't know that they're not healed, and they're walking around. You have a bunch of wounded people, and because they're not aware, right, that they have these things anchored, they have these soul ties and all these things, they behave in certain ways that cause them to either push away or hurt others, or disappoint others, or lie to others. This is what you realize. I mean, it takes work. It can be done, right? But it's about committing to fully healing and correcting those things after, especially dealing with a traumatic situation like narcissist. But I just wanted to speak on this because I feel as though it is something very necessary and important, because otherwise we can listen to all the videos in the world, but unless we attack the core key thing that is beneath all of the issues, it's just like putting a blanket over a pile of dirt. The dirt hasn't went anywhere. You just covered it, It's kind of what this is. And, especially for those who, you're getting into this knowledge, you're just starting to learn about it. You're just starting to get an understanding of it. You're going through the phases and stages of grief. And then after that, you're left, but all you've merely done is had time to allow the intensity of the feeling of being hurt or disappointed or betrayed to simmer down. That's all that's changed. Now, some of you have found ways. Some of you have went and gotten counseling. Some of you, you didn't have as severe a severe traumatic experience, so you were able to recover. Some of you it wasn't bothering you as much. But oftentimes these things are much deeper than just dealing with the individual that was a narcissist that caused this. Oftentimes these things go way back, all the way to childhood. And these are some of the things that, again, I've learned and studied through the years, and really having an understanding that if you are one that has healed, eventually you're going to have to come into position to awakening someone else. If you want to have somewhat of a harmonious connection with those individuals, you're going to have to awaken them into the methods of how to fully heal themselves. If you're at that point, at least. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that. Maybe I'll have some more in-depth things, because I've collected a lot of notes and memoirs of things that I've put together that worked, and stuff that I used, which helped out tremendously. Stuff that I've ran past, close, constituents, that deal with, that we've been, in contact for a while, and always pass by knowledge and information, with different doctors and whatnot, and came to, certain conclusions that, and methods that have been pretty effective. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that, especially in regards to healing, because a lot of people are hurting. And it's just one thing to just take a look at, knowing and realizing and asking yourself the question, have you really fully healed? Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Any one-on-one consultations, just shoot me an email. I'll get you information on that. And I may start bringing back the group coaching. Kind of helps when you have people together. I may bring that back too as well, through the ASSC Direct University. But until then, Stay good. Stay active. Stay productive. Have a good one.